Sivaya Nama Tiruchitrambalam. Today onwards, we are going to discuss one Thirumurai, one song on a daily basis. This is the 7th Thirumurai called as Thiruppaatu, and we are going to talk about one song per day, and we will try our best to give it in English as well. Now, talking about Nambi Aroorar, who is the author for the 7th Thirumurai, he is one among the 4 great saints that is well known in the history of Saivism. Thiruvennainalloor Sambandar, Thirunavukarasar, Nambi Aroorar and Manikavasagar are the 4 saints. The 3rd saint in this listing is Nambi Aroorar. He is the hero for the 12th Thirumurai, which is called as Periyapuranam. Now, before taking this birth, Nambi Aroorar was in Kailash helping Lord Shiva. According to the Purana, that is what we are able to identify. Lord Shiva decided to send Nambi, as it Sundarar, those days his name was Sundarar. So Shiva decided to send Sundarar to earth in order to sing the praise of all the Shivan Adiyars, which is basically the disciples of Shiva devotees. So what he did was, in Kailash, imagine a place where Kama, which is the lord of Cupid, was burnt down to ashes. So there is no way the feeling of lust will come up when you are in Kailash, right? And that particular location, in that particular place, Shiva played a game with Sundarar. One day, when Sundarar went to the gardens to take some flowers for his daily puja, he saw 2 ladies over there. Instantly, his thoughts went towards them. Immediately, he recollected and went back. Nothing else. He did not talk even a word. Not even a word was uttered over there. They both, all of them, just saw each other. That's all. Lord Shiva punished him for that. He said, "Since you saw the ladies, you have to go down to earth, start living in this earth worldly manner, and then come back." Nambi Aroorar, who was Sundarar by then, when he was in Kailash, he was Sundarar, right? He started crying. No one can say no to God's law, but at the same time, he could not leave God and come down. So he was crying. And at that point in time, he's just bowing down to God and saying, "I know the concept of earth is supposed to dissolute my thoughts. It's supposed to dilute my focus. It's supposed to get me onto a very confused state. Lord Shiva, please save me when I'm getting entangled in this earthly affairs. Please save me. Come down and save me." Lovely verses that you can see in Periyapuranam. Lord Shiva gives that word for our Sundarar. So Sundarar is born as Nambi Aroorar. So we are not supposed to say Sundarar because that's over in Kailash itself. That is his previous birth. In this birth, he is called as Nambi Aroorar. So Nambi Aroorar, until the age of 16, he was growing in a Brahmin family as well as in a king's family as a prince. So he was getting accustomed to 2 different cultural factors. One is the puja and the other one is the prince. So he was having all sort of luxuries, but at the same time, he was having all sort of the proper ethical standards as well. And that brings him to the age of 16, which was then one of the age for boys to be getting married. And at that point in time, his parents decide to marry him off. And during the marriage ceremony, Lord Shiva is coming down according to the promise that he had given Sundarar, right? He's coming down and he's stopping the wedding and he says that you are my slave. That is how this entire 7th Thirumurai journey starts. Now, at that point in time, there comes a very heated argument between Nambi Aroorar and Lord Shiva, because Shiva says that you are my slave, and Nambi is like, please give us some idea, because I'm a prince myself, and somehow I'm an Brahmin. How come a Brahmin can become a slave for another Brahmin? No way it is possible. So he starts arguing and he calls Lord Shiva as a crazy being, which is called as Pitta. In Tamil, Pitta means crazy. So he is calling Lord Shiva as Pitta, crazy. Lord Shiva, once he wins the argument and then he totally takes control of Nambi Aroorar, he says, "You called me Pitta, right? Sing, start singing with the word Pitta itself." Imagine how much Nambi Aroorar would have been. You see, we are scolding someone with a word and they become our soul, and later they are giving the same word and saying, okay, now you sing that in a very praiseful manner. Something will be, you can feel that, right? That's exactly the feeling that you can see in the very first Padigam. Today we are not going to start with the first verse, we are just going to talk about the starting. To talk about Nambi Aroorar's journey, he took 3 of them as his guru. One is Karaikal Ammayar, second one is Nambi, our Thiruvennainalloor Sambandar, third one is Appar Peruman, Thirunavukkarasar. Why do we say that and how do we say that with so much of confidence? Simple way. If you look at Karaikal Ammayar, she is the first lady to start with the logic and concept of Padigam. Before that, we don't have a history of Padigam. Padigam logic is created by Karaikal Ammayar. And Karaikal Ammayar has sung 2 pun. Pun is nothing but similar to raga, but it is even more older. 2 pun. One is Indalam and the other one is Nattapadai. Nattapadai, that particular pun was already utilized by our Thiruvennainalloor Sambandar. His very first Padigam was sung in Nattaragam. Nattapadai. What happened is, the second pun, which is Indalam, Nambi Aroorar takes that. He takes that, he inherits that, and he says, see, I am taking Karaikal Ammayar as my first guru, so I am going to sing in Indalam. Another reason, what is the beauty of Indalam is, Indalam's raga as of today is Mayamalava Gaulai. When you talk about Mayamalava Gaulai, the benefit of that raga is, it breaks down poison. It is actually an antidote for poison. So, what poison did Nambi had? Nambi is not talking about a physical poison, but the poison that we have within our minds. We have jealousy, we have anger, we have possessiveness, we have all sort of negative feelings, right? All those are poisons, isn't it? So, he is taking Indalam because he wanted to do a cleansing. But the cleansing is not exterior, interior cleansing. That is also one of the reasons why he took Indalam. Okay. What else Karaikal Ammayar did that inspired Nambi Aroorar? The third one is, she went around to visit almost all the temples and sing Padigam. That's exactly the path that was chosen by Thiruvennainalloor Sambandar, Thirunavukkarasar as well as Nambi Aroorar. So we can see Karaikal Ammayar was the one who started with the tradition of Padigam, who started with the tradition of going around all the temples and singing Padigams according to the temple. So that's exactly what we are seeing. It is being reflected or resonated in Nambi Aroorar's Padigam as well. Okay. Now if you look at this particular, the first Padigam, which is called as, sung in the temple called as Thiruvennainalloor, this particular Padigam has got 4 lines as usual, and each and every line has got 4 words. This is called as Alavadi in Tamil. Anyways, that is grammar. Let's not get into that point anyways. So what happened is, he proves that he is going in the path of Karaikal Ammayar. So who's the next guru? Obviously we know it is going to be our Thiruvennainalloor Sambandar. How do we know that? In one of the Padigam, Nambi Aroorar says this way. He says, you know what? I am actually following the steps of Thiruvennainalloor Sambandar at Thirunavukkarasar. He says, ஞான சம்பந்தனும் நாவினுக்கு அரையனும் சொல்லியவே சொல்லி ஏத்துகப்பானை, which means I am following the footsteps of Thiruvennainalloor Sambandar and Thirunavukkarasar. How do we know that? In the first Tirumurai, in 89th Thiruppadigam, if you look at it, there is one song which says, Vinnor Perumane, Vigirda Vidayurdi, Pen An Aliyagum, Pitta Pirai Sudi. Remember, God, Lord Shiva gave him the word Pitta. Thiruvennainalloor gave him the next word Pirai Sudi. So he takes those and he says Pitta Pirai Sudi. That is the first, that's the way how his first song will start. That is again a proof to say that the way how I'm following, the footsteps that I'm following is Karakkalammayar. The next, my guru is Kazhippallayar, which is Thiruvennainalloor. Not only that, if you look at that Padigam, right, he says, Anna Yenavallarku Adaya Vinaidane. He takes that fourth line, fourth sentence, the first word, and he is replicating the same. He says, Atta, Aya, Anne, Adigel, Adi, Anna. Everything starts with A. The beauty of the letter A is, it happens without any effort. You see, if you want to pronounce the word A, you don't need to do anything. You just open your mouth, it already comes in. Not only that, any letter, any word we have to pronounce, we have to open our mouth, which means A is already part of it, like Shiva. He is all alone and at the same time he is in everything also. Similar to that, similar to A is a separate word and letter, and at the same time any letter you want to pronounce, you have to open your mouth, which means A comes in. So Lord Shiva is all by himself. He is also in everything that you see around us. That is why A is taken as an equivalent over here, because we are appreciating Lord Shiva in each and every song. This is a Thanksgiving song that we are going to talk about from now on. That is one. The second one is in upper, as in Thiruvennainalloor, in 6th Tirumurai, he uses a statement, Pirai Soodinan Khan Perarulala, which means it's almost the same sentence is being used in Nambi Aroorar, Pitta Pirai Soodi Perumane Arulala. So if you look at the first statement, right, it's resonating Kazhippallayar, which is Thiruvennainalloor and Thiruvennainalloor, and he uses the same pun which was given to us by Karakkalammayar, which is also directly and indirectly saying that I am following the footsteps of these three people, they are my guru. Similar to Lord Shiva has got three sources of light, left eye, right eye and the third eye. Similar to that, Nambi Aroorar starts his journey with three sources of light, Karakkalammayar, Thiruvennainalloor and Thiruvennainalloor. Okay, so that is the starting. Now if you look at this temple's name, it is called as Arul Thurai. Thurai in Tamil means shore. So if you talk about all our life, right, we are all souls, right? We are in this particular deep ocean called as birth and death vicious cycle. We are in this cycle. We are in deep sea. For this soul to be realized, to even talk or think about realization, we need to reach the shore. That is the reason what Lord Shiva has done is, if you look at all the four saints, for example, Kazhippallayar, Thiruvennainalloor, he was fully taken by Lord Shiva in a place called as Thiruvennainalloor, also Thurai. Upper Peruman, which is our Thiruvennainalloor, Veerattana Thurai. Manikavasagar, Thirupperunturai. Our Nambi Aroorar, Arul Thurai. So you see, all of them came onto the shore from this birth cycle, birth and death cycle. So even if we have to break this vicious cycle, all we have to do is pray Lord Shiva and just stick on to his feet, and that should be sufficient to get on, to just break the cycle of birth and death and get on to his feet. That is the idea, that is what our Tirumurai is all giving us, and we are going to start with the first song from tomorrow onwards. I have to bow down to Nambi Aroorar and Lord Shiva Peruman to give us the perseverance and guidance and the confidence to take us through this journey, because it is almost going to be more than 1,000 days. So He has to bless us with that kind of state, and also everything. His grace is needed. So I bow down to his feet and I close the first speech or the discourse. I'll come back again with the next song very soon. Until then, bye bye. Sivaya Nama, Thiruchitrambalam.